Alright guys, this is Mr. Marklin with Unlimited Possibilities Martial Arts. You can see we're outside doing some training with the students. The video that we're going to do today, we're going to be talking about compression a little bit. I kind of want to use some weapons to do that. I may use some of these guys, but it has started to rain, so we might not, it might be a short video. So anyway, starting off, I just want to talk about the idea of what that word means, compression. So the idea of it is we are compressing something together. It's much like, it's a term that's kind of a scientific term, but it's using, basically simplifying something, okay? So this is kind of the idea of compression. You're doing more with less, sorry, not less with more, but you're doing more with less, if that makes sense, okay? So one of the ways that you can do that is with weapons. That's why I have my staff here. Just to show you guys. But one of the ways you can do that is in staff training or in any movement with the staff. We're doing long staff right now. Instead of me doing two different moves, okay, it can be any weapon really you can do this with, but I just chose to use long staff for this. But you can do two different moves. So I can do a block, right? Move back a little. So I can do a block, and then I can do a downward strike, okay? So that's two separate moves, all right? And then what I can do is I can compress those moves together to make it much more usable, easier to use, better in actual situation to be able to use, which would be I do my block into my strike, okay? So this is the idea of compression. What you're doing is you're taking something and you're compressing it together. You're making many things one or two things one, or however you want it, whatever it ends up being, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do, since it's thundering out here, if we're here, and let me grab this. Okay, so if he's coming in, let's just say he's coming in, I know he wouldn't be attacking me with the, but let's just say he's coming in and he's gonna give me a front kick, right? Or a round kick, that's fine, round kick is fine. Okay, and I compress this move. Okay, so kick, boom, I block him, and I can actually use this, right? Continuously use the movement instead of doing two separate moves, which would be, he comes in, I block him, and then I try to strike him, okay? Or maybe I block him, and I push, and then I try to push him off balance, right? Instead of doing two separate moves, I just put them all together as one, okay? So I'm able to off balance him because I'm doing one smooth continual motion. And this is an idea of compression, okay? All right, so basically simplifying something to where it works better, faster, easier, less complicated, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm gonna leave the staff out of it. Okay, so a simple thing, if I were to grab Miss Olivia like so, okay, there's a lot of techniques that she knows how to do, but what would be the most basic technique to get out of this grab? What do you think? A simple one. What would be the simplest thing that you could do? Putting her on the spot right now. Okay, so grab me. Simplest thing you could do. So we're talking about simplifying the idea. So if I grab her like this, she could do like that. She could just knock me out, right? Okay. Now a little bit more fancy thing she could do. Maybe she could do her green belt self-defense or something. Do you remember that one? With the other one? Yep. Yep. She could do something like this, which is much more. Yeah. So that's a lot more. It's got a lot more going into it, which means that right off the bat, it's not going to work simply by itself. Like that whole entire conglomeration of all that movement isn't going to work in every situation, right? Which is the reason why we teach that in that way, so that they can learn a piece of a situation and not necessarily saying that's how the thing's going to be every time, because that's ridiculous, that's silly. It's not going to be, you're not going to be able to do that move exactly like that every time, because people are going to move weird, they're going to move a different way, they're going to brace, they're going to do all kinds of different things. But this gives her the idea, so that when she gets right now she's a green belt and she's just learning that technique, right? So she goes to, let me borrow, yes. Actually, that's a good idea. Come on, let me borrow. Okay, so now, if we go to Leo now Leo is a brown belt. So now, instead of being unsure, if I grab him like that, now I want you to do, see, he's got lots of things that he can do from there very quickly. You see what I'm saying? And he put that on me fast because he's a brown belt. He understands how to do these things. So even if I try to fight him, it's not gonna matter if I try to fight him because he knows what to do. Notice he did something simple, a lot more simple than all that fancy stuff that she did earlier, but she has to learn that to be able to understand how to move in a certain way. Does that make sense? So the compression is, he did one simple move with which is an S-lock from a grab where she had to grab underneath, go underneath, come underneath, up and down, take him down, right? Okay, so this is, as you get further along, you actually compress the ideas. Now what he did is not actually simple, but he made it look simple because he's trained, he's got the skill, right? Yes, sir. Yes, there's other ways, so you can show me another way to do it. Yeah, there's another way. You go into armbar, right? Yes, so he knows all these other ways to be able to do that move. And now he's just showing it real soft because he doesn't want to hurt Mr. Marco, but he can grab, boom, and slam down and really tighten those things up and do them fast. And in one motion, instead of having to go, here, grab me. Instead of, if I go back to his S-lock, if we don't compress the movement, then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's just gonna take way too long in a real situation. When you know how to do it though, you can just compress the move and just do it all at once. You don't need all that 1, 2, 3, 4, all the steps. The steps are for learning, for building skill, right? And so, really important part of being able to understand compression. All right, thanks, sir. All right, so in this case, we're gonna go against basically we're gonna do some Wing Chun a little bit. So from this position here, okay, this is our, if you guys have ever done Wing Chun before, or JKD, really JKD normally starts like this, but from right here, this is what we call our basic starting position, okay? This is what we call our reference position, or reference point is what I usually tell them. From here now, we can go into some sort of a move where we move whatever's in front of us, okay? So this right here is stopping me from getting to a center, right? Because if I just reach and get it, he'll just put his hands up, okay? So what I want to do is move it, and then when I punch, now there's another obstruction, so I'm going to move that, and now he's going to do that to me. I actually want him to do it. So this is more complex, right? So if he strikes, I go here. Then he's going to do something else to make me. All right. Oh, he simplified it a little bit. Okay. So go ahead and do it one more time. Now do something else to. Or you could do that. That's good. That's good. We'll just do the same thing that I did. So we could go here. Boom. Yes. And you see how he does that? Now let me do it this time. So I go here. He blocks. Right. Now I can come here and I can strike again. So, see how this is getting complex? Let's see. He blocks again. Okay. So what I have to do is I've got to do something to simplify it, okay? So in order to simplify it, I either need to use speed, technique, surprise, all these different types of attributes that I can use. So from right here, I can just go like this and go more direct to the target, right? So I go, it's harder for him to do it that way. Or I can just go like this. He can let me do that. So I can go here and just roll off of it. Right? Then I can see, now I'm in, okay? Or from here, I can go, and when he comes into strike, I can just grab it out on the way through, okay? So this is a way to take something complex and kind of distill it down, to compress it, okay? So these are the ideas that we're thinking about now. If you do it, let's go. Yes, okay? Here, another side. As long as it's open, right? Yes, sir. Wong see, and he's simplifying it by doing what Wing Chun wants you to do, which is go directly to the center when you have an open space, right? If I'm here and I have this closed space and it gets open, you just want to go right to the center. You don't want to go, oh, let me tap the hand again. You don't need to do that. That's actually wasting your time, especially since Wing Chun is enclosed. So this is the idea of compressing the idea, okay? So you're doing more with less. The way I come in, the more you can simplify your movement, the easier it is to actually make it more effective, if that makes sense, okay? And that's what compression is, all right?